Hello, I'm Neeraj. Today I will explain the concept of chain of thoughts. Chain of thoughts is a very interesting prompt engineering technique used to solve complex problems. In the chain of thoughts, we generally divide the complex problems into multiple stages and we write the prompt for each of those stages and solve them one by one. This is a general strategy. This helps large language model to understand the flow of the system, like how the internal concepts in the problems are connected, and that helps the large language model to solve it with better accuracy. But to actually follow the chain of thoughts, we use some process that is defined through a lot of that is developed through a lot of research works, continuous research works. So we will go through this flow diagram to understand this. So first of all, suppose we have a questions related to a complex scenario. Then our next stage will be to write the prompt for that scenario. Now we will have two options. First is zero sort and second is two sort. So in the zero sort, we will not divide the problem into multiple stages. We just assume that our large language models are too advanced and smart to solve any problem. So at the end of the prompt, we will just write that let us solve it in a step-by-step fashion. Then LLM will solve it like that. Second stage is like we are considering that our LLM is not so advanced or the problem is highly complex. Then we will add examples. Suppose we have a stage 1, stage 2. So with each stage we will add one or two examples. And then we will say the system to solve this problem in a stage by stage. So these are the two process. After that, now suppose for our problem we divided it into reasoning chains. So suppose we have a problem, complex problem, and we divided the problems into some reasoning chains. Like and that reasoning chains contain suppose T1, T2, Tn prompts, and this one is one of the reasoning chain to solve this problem. So once this reasoning chain will execute, we will get the answer. So this is the setup. Now there are some scenarios where one reasoning chain may not be sufficient to give the accurate answer. Suppose the scenario is too complex. Then what we will do? We create multiple samples for these reasonings. So this is sample, suppose this is a sample S1. So again we will generate sample S2. It will generate the answer 2. Suppose we have sample 3, it will generate the answer 3, like that. So 3 samples. So now we have two scenarios. If the problem is not so complex, we will go with single, means use multiple samples. No, we will go with single sample and then select the base chain, because we have only one chain, so that will be the base chain. But in this case we have to apply some another process, because we have, suppose we have k independent, k equal to 3. Just for a simplicity I took this value. So suppose then we have to identify that which chain will give the correct answer. So one process is by voting. This is called majority voting. So in the majority voting, suppose S1 and S2 generates the same answer, but S3 represents the different answer. Then we will go with this, and we say that either S1 or S2 is the correct chain, or S1 or S2 combinedly is the correct chain. Or second is scoring. We will generate the score with answer, and we will go with the highest score answer. And then now we are able to generate the answer because we got the prompt sequences for chain of thoughts. But again, to make sure that the system is not making any error, we are using verifier or critic. If you are not using, then you have a final answer. But if you are using, then we have to check three things. First is logic, whether the entire logic is correct or not. Constraints, whether the answers are violating any constraints, rule, or any parameters or anything that we have to check. Third is correctness. There may be some supporting evidence, even if we don't know what is the answer, but there may be some supporting evidences that we can write in a form of a prompt, and we say that please check that whether the answers are violating those supporting parameters which justify about the correctness or not. And for this we can use separate LLM or we can use same LLM. It is based on your choice. And if critics are accepted, means all the means checks are passed, then we say that okay, this is your answer. If it is not passed, then it will again go to the loop. We will repeat the entire process again. So this is the process. Now I will go through one example. So the example is like a bat and a ball together cost $1.10. Bat cost $1 more than the ball. So how much the ball costs? Most of the people will give the answer like 10 cents, but it is not correct. And if you use the traditional large language model or low capacity large language model, it will again make the same mistake. But what is the actual solution and how we can solve through chain of thoughts? So there are two strategies. Either at the type of prompt, you can directly say that use the zero shot, and you assume that your system is too good to handle such situation. Then zero shot. So suppose here I have used the zero shot strategy to solve this problem. We can use few shot also. So define the variables. First we will define that the cost of ball is $X. And since the bat cost $1 more than the ball, so the bat cost will be X plus $1. And write the total cost equation. So total cost equations will be like X plus 1 equal to 1.10. Now we have to combine the like terms and solve this problem. Then we will subtract, and then it will be like 2x equal to 1.0.10. And when we divide, solve for x, then we divide by 2, it will be 0.05. So now we will interpret the solution. The ball cost is $0.05 and bat cost is 0.05 plus 1 means total is, this is matches with the given part. So we are following the critic. So if critic accepted, then we say that okay, sorry, then we say that 5 cents is the answer. So this is the strategy of chain of thoughts. So later we will go through tree of thoughts and graph of thoughts.